Hello, hello. Happy Friday Eve, friends. We are back. It's Medical Billers Network Live. This is our second time live this week. So in the last week, technically, it's the third time. So if you have not caught the other lives from this week, you're going to want to check them out. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening on this space. It still sounds loud to me. I'm going to turn the volume way down. I don't know why. Just distract me. Okay. Um, Sorry, guys. So I'm excited. This conversation we're continuing that is supporting our medical billers and medical billing company owners or aspiring medical billing company owners, those of you who are interested in starting your own billing company or even coding company or consulting. If you're someone who is doing kind of a side hustle and want to expand it, or if you're someone who has had aspirations and have lacked the get up and go, then the series that we've been having these last few lives will definitely serve you. And then I just want to make sure to mention this Saturday, it's coming up really quickly for us. This Saturday, September 14th, 11 a.m. Eastern, is our webinar that's devoted specifically to you all, those of you who are interested in getting things off the ground with your own billing company and maybe just getting over that little extra bit of fear. You know what it is, Nicole? I just realized it's the different song. Sorry. I'm like, it's a countdown song, I think. Mentally, I'm over here having a moment with the music, you guys, so apologize. It can distract me. You know, if you hung out here long enough, you know that I have ADHD. And so there you go. There's proof in the pudding there. So, all right, my friends. So when you get here, answer today's question of the day. Let me know that you're here by popping a comment. First, you're going to tell me where you're joining from, and then you're going to share with us. I forget what the question of the day. Oh, are you excited about the webinar? Nicole just shared the question of the day with me, but it just like that poofed from my brain. So are you excited about the webinar that's happening this Saturday? Yes. Todd, you got the right stuff there. ADHD is our superpower. That's right. Because I just had like 3 different conversations in the span of a few seconds, right? And some of them were just to myself. So it's definitely our superpower. If you are just getting in here for the first time and you've not hung out here before, then you may not know that in this space, we are committed to alleviating the stress and confusion in the business of healthcare. And specifically today and in these last few lives, serving those of you who are already maybe exploring being medical billing company owners, or someone who is kind of on the outside and just interested in the field and have heard that medical billing company ownership is a way to break into it. This is also a space where you might feel a lot of value. So this Saturday's webinar is kind of a start to finish. We're going a little bit deeper than we're able to do in our live streams together. It's a 90-minute time that we're spending together. You can ask more questions. You can ask questions here in the live chat. If you are watching from any of the platforms that let you message, you should be able to put something there in the comments or the chat itself, and I can see your questions and we can have a conversation. So today we are talking marketing related to starting a medical billing company. So if you're someone who has struggled in the way of growing your business or getting things off the ground, then this is the space for you. So hi, Tanisha. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for letting us know that you're in the space. And is it still really warm down there in Louisiana? I'm curious. We've crossed over into kind of semi-fall temperatures out here in Charlotte. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so if you have not been to this area, we typically have pretty warm summers and humid. And we've crossed over to my hands don't need lotion. That's the season that we're in. My hands, excuse me, they need lotion. That's the season that we're in. So the opposite. I usually do not need lotion in the summertime. So, oh yes, I did. I did see that you guys had a hurricane, so I'm glad that you are doing. Isn't that crazy how late in the season they get more active? It always amazes me. So hi, Carmen, Jersey, Joyzy, hello, thanks for being here. It's great to see you. All right, so I am going to get us right into our topics, but I would love for you guys to, as time flows, let me know what questions are coming up for you. The last couple of live streams have been really, I believe, chocked with information, and I hope today is going to be supportive for you. I would say about a year ago, maybe a little less, we had a topic about marketing where I probably spoke maybe 2 or 3 live streams around marketing. And so if you're someone who really wants to go a lot deeper and you want specifically resources to related to marketing, you can check out those live streams. I believe it was, like I said, fall or so of last year, so it should say about a year ago is what the live thing will say. And then also Saturday, in our conversation on Saturday, we'll go a little bit more into marketing. It's not all about marketing on Saturday. It's really getting your billing company up and running. So we're going to talk all things. So, hey, hello. Is it Jamaica? I hope I get that right. Jamaica in little old Lillington. Cute. I've never heard of that. So, is that close? Is that close to Charlotte? How far away from Charlotte is that? Yeah, I've never heard of Lillington. So it is. Oh, okay. I love it. Yeah. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks so much for hanging out. Okay. So today we're talking about the aspect of marketing when it comes to medical billing company ownership. Now, here's the deal, is that a lot of us think about marketing and right away you start thinking, oh, I've got to be on social media. I've got to go, print out business cards, and you start thinking about the laundry list of to-dos related to marketing. And truth is that when it comes to marketing, we have really important, what I like to call pre-work. So today we're talking about 3 specific things. So 3 essential keys. The very first one is actually what I would be doing even before I have made the decision to kind of open the proverbial doors of my business. So I am deciding about these things before I've even let people know that I exist, right? So this is really a part of the business planning process, and we've briefly chatted about business planning. Saturday we'll talk a lot about it. I'm not talking about going out and writing a 50-page business plan, anything like that. I mean giving yourself your own personal roadmap. All right. So when we talk about business planning, we're talking about from start to finish, getting yourself to a place where you understand where you're headed. You have a sense of the direction that you're going in. Before you do that, you have to really decide exactly who you are. Okay. Who you would like to be in the world of medical billing business. And so before you're even going out to do the marketing and creating all of the different marketing materials that you need and tapping into all of the resources that will support your marketing, you need to back it up. And you need to think, what people call this term branding, such a big term. It really is knowing who you are and being able to represent yourself in the marketplace in that way. And so when you back up and you look at who exactly you want to, who you are, you're trying to decide who you are. You have to first decide who you want to be. And that comes from a deeper place, which is your why. You must know your personal why, meaning why are you starting this business? Why do you want to serve in this industry? And then the why of why exactly you're serving the clients in the way that you choose to serve them. So you must go back and decide, what am I doing it for? And it could be purely financial gain. It could be for freedom. It could be for a variety of things. And the reason why you want to create this North Star for yourself, or give yourself an opportunity to clarify the thing that's motivating you to start the business, is it's going to be the way that you will remind yourself when things get hard. When you are out in the marketplace and you get a lot of no's, a lot of doors closed, is going to always be the thing that you revisit. And when you get clear about the why, the motivating factor, the thing that gets you focused and moving forward, then you can start to build the foundation for yourself, start to think about, okay, what exactly is going to bring you closer to this place of my desired outcome. And we'll speak a little bit more about that on Saturday. But let's just, then I say desired outcome, I mean the end destination, right? Your end goal. Where do you want to be, right? So when you're thinking about your why, you're thinking about, okay, like what are the things that I desire to have while operating this business? So if you know that you're someone who is moving into this so that you have more flexibility, creating a business that echoes that, right? Creating a business that is going to allow you more flexibility inherently. So you're not going to necessarily market yourself in the way or represent yourself in the way in the marketplace, saying that you're going to go to medical practices and do the billing from their location every day of the week, right? There are people who operate a medical billing company this way, where they go into the client's office and they actually perform the billing services as a contractor in the client's office. But if you want flexibility and freedom, you probably are not going to find that by being on site at a client's office, right? So that's one way that once you've decided that that's how you want to serve how you want the business to serve you, then you're going to start to really piece together how you're showing up in there. So, oh, okay, I'm looking. Hi, Keon, good to see you. By Fayetteville, I know exactly where that is. So cool. Hi, Keon, it's so great to see you. Yeah, happy Thursday. Trust me, this week has been very discombobulated for me, so it kind of feels. I think it's because we have like a normal week, and last week we had that short week, so it's that first revisit. So great, thank you so much for hanging out. Okay. So after we've decided the why and we're getting ourselves clearer, we're really starting to orient a little bit more of the groundwork of who exactly we want to be in the marketplace. So we've gotten the why, we have a good clear picture. There are a lot of layers to that. I'm not going to go in depth. We go in pretty deep when we talk Inner Circle. We really spend a lot of time around your motivating factor and really trying to get clear about what it is that you desire, like your lifestyle and how you want to operate, both right financially, personally, in your relationally, in your relationships with family and your other loved ones, right? Like you're having to really think about this, because the business is an extension of you. You are inherently an extension of the business. You become kind of merged together when you're starting out, especially as a solopreneur, someone who's an owner operator in the business, which means you own it and you're one who provides the services as well. Even if you have a team under you, you're an owner operator, and you become this kind of blended version of you and the business. And so it must be something that you feel good about. It must be something that is representative of what you desire, because it will directly impact all of those things that I just mentioned. It's going to directly impact your livelihood and what you're doing outside of the business. If you don't set up the business correctly and in alignment with what you desire, you will cause yourself to work sometimes even 3 or 4 times harder than you did when you worked for someone else, right? And that just kind of naturally might happen. You might desire to work harder because it's your baby, it's your business baby, right? However, when you create a business that is not serving you in the way that you desire, if you have not gotten clear about what that means for you, then you end up orienting yourself in a way where you are basically an employee times however many hats you wear in your business, and you feel like you are not the one making conscious decisions for yourself in the business, right? You are now operating by way of whatever the business demands, and so you're kind of being pulled instead of allowing your business to move along in the way that you have envisioned. Okay, so when we have this kind of foreground and this work where we've decided who we are and how we want to represent ourselves, that is what creates the brand, right? This word of branding feels intense, and people think of bigger brands, right? And yes, there's a brand feel. There's all the essence that we think of. We think of Nike, think of Apple, right? There are definitely ways that the brand's echoed that makes it feel way bigger than the fact that someone has actually created it, than what you are thinking. But you have to kind of dumb it down and recognize that it really, what it is at its heart, is taking exactly who they've said they want to be and giving that as a representation to the world. So they're saying, okay, this is who we are. We've decided who we are and why we are. And now how do we want the world to see us? And so you're really giving this as a place of clarification for the market to say, I want you to know me as this. So if you go out and you're like, I see any clients, it doesn't matter, if you're a practice that needs someone to come on site, if you're someone who is okay with someone working from home, like you're everything to everybody, people won't have a clear picture of what makes you unique, right? So you have to decide what exactly is what my coach likes to call unique selling proposition. Like, who are you uniquely? Like, what exactly do you have that's unique that you're offering to the marketplace? What exactly are you wanting them to see in you, the qualities in you that make you different? Okay. So an example of that is, let's say you have a unique skill set related to podiatry. You not only know podiatry, but you also know podiatry billing, but you also know podiatry from a coding perspective. Maybe you've supported folks in documentation auditing, right? You have this very specific niche as a podiatry filler and someone who really understands the full scope of the specialty, right? That gives you a leg up over others. Not only does it that, but it gives you an opportunity to really highlight your skills and say, hey, I not only am a biller that can do podiatry, but I have fully embodied this specialty. And so when you think of podiatry billing, you're going to think of me because I know everything end to end. Not only can I support your billing, but I 100% understand what you're doing in your documentation and what should be present, right? So you're giving this clear picture of this is the thing that makes me unique, and I want you to see me when you first think of podiatry billing. Okay, so this ties in the what is Todd's? I like to call it a lifestyle. Yeah. That's fine. All right, you're so funny. Okay, so here's the deal: is like I believe that. Hi, is it Tan? Hi, Tan. Thanks for joining from Maryland. Thanks for being here. Okay, so when we have this clear picture of who we are, how we want the market to see us, we have that branding established, then we start to move out into the marketplace. Now, there's really two ways that we can do this. We start moving into the marketplace and we're attracting our avatars, right? The folks that we want to bring into our client roster, bring underneath our business. We're doing that by way of marketing material and bringing them in, or we're sending information out and they're finding us. So that's inbound and outbound. But before we do that, we have to know specifically who it is that we're looking for. So we know who we are. We know how we want the world to see us. Then we need to decide who exactly we want to attract. So you have a clear picture of who you are. Then you need to have a clear picture of who your client is. And I love to use the term avatar because really a lot of us like to represent, give kind of this vague representation of our client. We're like, oh, it's a medical practice. They have, a medical provider that's a podiatrist. Let's roll with podiatry today. That has a podiatry practice with 2 assistants or a staff of maybe 3 or 4, right? You kind of get specific around what you think the practice's design might be, but you haven't really spoken enough about the qualities of the person, of the individual that is making the decision to leverage your services. You have to get clear about the individual, right? The avatar, the person that is making the decision is the most important, we'll say, piece to this puzzle, because even though, yes, we're talking about medical practices and their businesses, but it's the people in the businesses that make the decision. And so you're having a people-to-people conversation. You have to be able to find some opportunities for relatability, to be able to really have a strong conversation of communicating your value and them being able to see themselves leveraging your services and being able to receive the benefits of working with you and seeing that possibility in their practice. Still all coming by way of a person, all right? So when you're talking from like, oh, it's a medical practice and they're located here and they take this insurance, and you're speaking about what I like to think of as just minutia. It's stuff that, okay, that's there, sure. Those are definitely important to know, geographically where you want the clients to be, perhaps the style of the practice, what type of software they use. Those things are important. But you have to even understand the individual there, because the client relationship is built upon that individual. Not only are they the ones making the decisions, but they are likely the ones that you're going to interface with on a regular basis. And we hope that you like the person that you're going to be interacting with, or the team that you're going to be interacting with on a regular basis. So let's get clear about who those people are, because if you aren't clear about who they are and anybody comes to you, you're going to say yes to it, and you'll learn the hard way that these folks are not the right people that you want to serve. And so if you're doing this work, again, this kind of pre-work, this evaluation of what you desire your business to look like before you open the proverbial doors, you then will feel like what you're doing is in honor and alignment of what you have chosen for your own business, instead of just being kind of at the mercy of the market. It's just someone coming, happenstancing into your space, and we've talked about this a lot lately. You just saying yes to things and arriving in a destination that is not at all in alignment with what you hoped for. I gave a story that Blue Butterfly loved the other day about, me saying yes to this really amazing opportunity, thinking it was all the right things, but I didn't really know how to clarify what it is and how I wanted to serve clients. And I said yes, and put me into a corner of an opportunity where I now was working ridiculous amounts of hours, and we were paying to have a client on our roster because the client account was so complex. The office was not set up in the way that we really desired to serve clients. But I just was like, well, sure, of course we can figure out how to serve this client. We can figure a way to show up for them in all the ways that they need. When if I would have done my pre-work, I would have decided, oh, they are missing quite important elements that are necessary for us to be able to service their account in a way that is going to serve not just them, but also us, right? To be able to give us the visibility and the time and the freedom to be able to make educated decisions about how to keep their accounts receivables low and make sure that they're getting all of the right benefits from working with us, right? So once you clarify that, you get to this place where you have a good sense of who your avatar is, you have an understanding, you can start by just having those conversations with folks that you believe meet your avatar. Now, there are a lot of different places and spaces you can do this, especially in an area where you want to focus that might be local to you. So my friends who already know that you want to serve clients in your regional area or right in your same county or state, you're going to start right with your medical associations, or there's all kinds of medical societies and groups that gather locally. Yes, they still gather in person. Some of them gather virtually, but there are a lot of chances where you can just be in the spaces. Maybe you even just choose to go to like a business networking group, and there's always medical providers in those groups. Just get yourself in a space where you can ask questions to the medical providers around how they decide on selecting a medical billing company and what attracts them to a specific service provider. So you can start doing your own research and really understand and get to the heart of your local industry, because your challenges are going to be different than mine here in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? If you're in a small rural town and there's 5 medical providers in your town, that's going to have completely different challenges than a big city environment. So it's really important to understand what those types of providers are interested in as far as service providers when it comes to something like billing, right? These are folks that maybe are accustomed to someone coming in-house, working from their office every single day, and you're offering a service that they might be able to leverage, but they would want it to look a certain way, perhaps. And so that might be an example of what I mentioned earlier, where you're servicing the provider in their office or from within their office by visiting and generating claims and things from their 4 walls, from within their 4 walls, which sounds a lot like kind of sounds a little crazy to some of us, but there are a lot of billing companies that operate just like this. There are ones that will service clients and then on a very regular basis, once a week or twice a week, visit their clients and pop in to grab various materials, or they go in and print claims, right? There's all kinds of ways that these medical practices have billers serving them, or billing companies serving them. And so you'll want to know what feels like a great relationship, right? What feels like a relationship that is serving the practice, because if they're accustomed to a biller coming in once a week and having financial consultations with their patients during that period, then you want to be working remotely and you hope to never go into the office, therein lies a problem. All right. So I'm going to pause right there because I've been talking for a long time and I saw a couple of comments. Let me see. Does anybody have any questions about this particular topic, and where are the challenges that you find yourself when you talk about identifying your avatars? Where are the challenges that you find yourself encountering when you are talking about identifying your avatar? Okay. So I'll let you guys answer your questions. But when we talk about the avatar, we have a clear understanding of the person that we want to serve. We start kind of doing a little bit of investigative work, trying to understand what their challenges are and how they make decisions for their practice. That you can also do in other spaces that are virtual. So if you're on like forums on LinkedIn, you might be on some forums even in Facebook has their own groups. They don't always let medical medical service providers in the professional groups, but if you manage to kind of be a fly on the wall in any of those groups, just looking at the kinds of questions that they have, even in our Facebook group, if you're not a part of Medical Billers Network, we have a number of practices and providers that will pop in there from time to time and express a need. And sometimes they're looking specifically for a medical biller that has, X specialty, whatever, or they're asking questions about a certain scenario that they see in their practice. And that can give you really great insight, right? You can start to understand the challenges. Other thing I would suggest, and this is, plug for our YouTube friends, is YouTube has a whole network of medical professionals that share about their journeys in the U.S. Make sure you're looking at someone in the U.S. I'll mention that little important caveat. There's some in other parts of the world, but it's not going to serve us if we aren't sure if they have the same challenges, and we don't necessarily have the same challenges, but it's helpful to hear even the doctor's rant. One of my favorites, and he's he's kind of like a comedic doctor, but he actually doesn't really he's a hospitalist now. He doesn't run a practice anymore. He did for a short time, but his name is Dr. Z-Dog, Z-O-Z-D-O-G-G, I think. Dr. Z-Dog MD, or Z-Dog MD, something like that. He also has a podcast, and I can't think of the name of the podcast right now, but very entertaining. He interviews a lot of folks on there. One of the reasons why I like listening to podcasts, especially ones that are in the medical profession, is they will often bring on other medical providers, and you'll just hear moments of venting. You'll hear like the true essence of like what stresses them out, and you'll really get a good sense of what it means to serve a medical provider. Like we miss the mark again, that we're talking about humans, and we have to recognize that the challenges that we're facing, or that we have in our businesses, they have their own challenges as well. And so trying to balance, work-life balance, trying to create time and space for certain activities outside of work, right? Trying to make sure that they have a staff that serves the business well, trying to make sure they have operations down. All of those things are true. And so when you start to hear the pain points presented in these casual environments, it really can help you understand the mind of some of these medical professionals. So I would just, if you've got if you're like me, you're working on other things and you've got some downtime and you want to listen to podcasts, or just find some of your favorite folks here on YouTube, and just, like I said, be a fly on the wall, take some of the feedback, and also look at the comments because you'll see lots and lots of comments from other medical providers, especially if you're talking about healthcare, the business of healthcare, and operations and things like that. You'll hear a lot of feedback from them. So starting to just really clarify, like, okay, I know my avatar from my perspective, but like, what kinds of things are they saying in the marketplace, and then how can I learn from the feedback that they're providing to us, and be able to use those two things together to be able to create what we're going to move into next, which is the discussing of like really attracting the avatar. So we have a sense of who we know who we are, right? The first thing, we know exactly who we are. We've sat with that. We've worked on it. We've decided how we want the marketplace to see us. Then next, we are really trying to discover who our avatar is, right? We've got to know the folks that we want to serve. Once we've clarified this for ourselves, we then are trying to establish ways to attract them. So that's our third kind of point, right? So we think about the foundation are like knowing ourselves, knowing the folks we want to serve. Now, how do we allow these two things to come together? So in the middle of that, I mentioned some of that kind of market research and you getting out and really understanding like the mind of your avatar. And it's so important that you write down what you find, right? Write down, okay, these are the things that I've noticed that are major challenges. I've noticed this is nothing, there's nothing hidden, right? It's not like, oh, they only talk about this like behind closed doors. It's nothing like that. This is not politics, right? This is healthcare. These are people. They vent, and they vent sometimes openly, publicly, sometimes in blogs, sometimes in webinars. You might pop on a webinar from a medical professional group, right? Like recognizing that you have plenty of opportunities to get a sense of the real struggle and that kind of dialogue that flows out of a medical provider, so you can start to orient yourself in that direction when you have these conversations, right? You want to maybe ask those same probing questions that that were asked in an interview from, like, if you're listening to someone that's interviewing a medical provider and they're asking like, what are the most challenging what's the most challenging thing of running a medical practice? Like, start asking these open-ended questions just as great conversation starters, and it's going to help you to see medical providers as humans and be able to relate to them. I know that I speak from personal experience. Like, when I first started my business, and my friends who've hung out here long enough know this already, I was 20 years old. And when I first started this is a long time ago, okay? This is over 20 years ago right now. And so my first mode was, okay, I got to get out and do boots on the ground marketing, right? So networking events and door to door, like visits to medical practices. Like, you have to wrap your head around the fact that I'm 20 something, and I think I look mature. I feel mature. I've been in the industry for six years at this point. I started when I was 14. Right? I feel like I know what I'm talking about and speaking with confidence, but I look like a child, right? I look pretty young. So you're walking into this medical practice and hoping that they're going to see all of these great things that you're coming, ideas that you're coming with, when the truth is the moment you get those met with some objections or kind of like tilted heads, those moments happen and you shrink back and you feel immediate like imposter syndrome. And so when you start to recognize like these are people and they have real challenges, and I don't need to feel intimidated by them. I don't need to feel scared by them. I mean, I am 20 years old. I'm in, undergraduate in community college, right? And here I am walking into a medical provider's office. I feel very small at this time, right? I'm thinking, like, who am I, And so part of it is like, oh, that's a doctor, it feels a little bit scary. And so this gives you the chance to make them feel more human. You don't have someone who's a medical provider in your family or close, relationships. You sometimes, we look at them and we're like, oh, they're just so educated, and they've, all these things that make you feel so separate from them, right? Almost like, unattainable, right? You're just like, I don't know how I could even speak to them because there's not this clear relatability. So when you have these chances to make them human, right? You hear them speak like normal humans and make jokes, and that's why I enjoy the entertaining medical providers, because I think it makes you realize like, oh, they're just like, enjoy life and laughter and all the things, right? So you can start to really chip away at the ideas that you have that hold you back, that make your imposter syndrome, let's say, ignite your imposter syndrome, okay? So you want to try to move away from that, where you start to see yourself from a place of confidence, all right? So when we get to this last section, we're starting to attract, right? We're like, how do we really bring them? I love to think of marketing. I mentioned the two different ways, right? You're either going out and you're searching for folks, or you're attracting them. And for me, attracting the avatar is the most powerful, the stickier, as we call it in marketing, the stickier way to operate, which means someone is looking for you. You don't have to go looking for them. It feels less salesy. It feels less uncomfortable for you and for them. Like nobody really wants to be sold services, right? And so they want solutions, they want help with their problems. They don't really want you to come in and necessarily, kind of do the hard sell. And so when you have this way of highlighting your skill set, what you know, and allowing people to make their way to you, it creates an already strong foundation of trust. It establishes trust. They see you already as someone potentially as a trusted advisor, and they can start to feel comfortable expressing their concerns or the questions that they have, because they understand that you have some value to add to that conversation. So this is where I lose folks when I start talking about the idea of attracting their avatar often. So please stay with me and let me know if you have questions about this topic, because when I give examples, people get really nervous. Okay, they're like, I don't know how to write, or I don't know how to do videos or whatever. We are blessed in this day and age. All right, this is a totally different life experience than when I first started my business. You have a ton of resources available to you. You don't have to hire copywriters. You don't have to go out and build this fantastic website and doing all the things. Like, you have so many things at your fingertips that you don't even know, right? So my friends, if you don't have to have a special skill like this, like talking on video and presenting what you know about a certain topic for medical billing. You don't have to use this medium. There are so many ways, right? So we talked already about Facebook and Facebook groups, or LinkedIn and LinkedIn groups, and other forums that are out there. There are forums all over the internet, right? There are places that you can go to help people find answers to their questions. And when you open up the door to answer questions and people start to see your name attached to those responses, and that it look like you're actually being genuine in your desire to support, all of a sudden your credibility starts to build, right? People are like, wow, this person seems to know what they're talking about, and they seem very helpful, right? If you're the person who's like in those groups and you're every other second popping in well, just give me a call, or like, check out our company website, we do that and we do this, like you're always self-promoting, you not only do not gain credibility, but you often will lose credibility, because people are feeling right away that you are just trying to sell them something. And again, nobody likes to be sold, okay? So when you start to think about what would if I were in this person's shoes and I had this question that was out there, right? Where I don't know how to move forward. I'm running a medical practice. I don't know how to set up a clearinghouse. I don't know, just putting that out there. I don't know exactly what a clearinghouse is. I don't know how to set it up, right? What would I want? Well, I want somebody to first answer my question. So give the answer, be supportive. And then if you feel compelled, you might extend an opportunity for them to reach out to you if they have other questions, right? Like, leave the door open. Don't feel like, okay, I answered the question, walk away. Like, you can actually say, hey, like, here's the answer to the question, but feel free to reach out to me. You can send me a DM or, whatever, however you want to open up that conversation. I don't know what platform you're on, but give them the opportunity to give them the okay, the green light to reach out to you. And just doing that, letting folks see that you have some knowledge, right? You have experience that is of value, and you're also someone who wants to be helpful and be of service. Already, you put yourself ahead and above other people who might be in your industry that are just out there like running ads and pushing different marketing buttons, we'll say. All right. So outbound marketing, not only is outbound marketing, so outbound marketing is all the things that you're doing to get yourself in the marketplace with, like, materials, with ads, with sales reps and things like that, sitting at exhibits, paying thousands of dollars to be a sponsor of a medical conference or whatever. Like, those are not necessary. When you have the budget available, sure, do it. That helps you establish your name, right? It gets your name out there. People see you. Okay, they're like, oh, they're always here. Oh, I always see that name. It's always, sponsor, they're always contributing in some way or whatever. They get comfortable with your name. So eventually, yes, that pays off. The truth is that you're really not necessarily getting closer to your avatar, right? People know this. If you've ever done a conference, like at the beginning of my business, I made all these mistakes, you guys. I have to make sure you understand this and share this stuff with you, because these are all things that I did wrong, because I, did what I had in the way of accessible to me in the moment, which was, oh, here's some marketing things. You should go be an exhibit at this, medical conferences. And, like, a little did I know I could go there and I could speak and share something for free, and sometimes even be getting paid for that, and not have to pay, $3,000 to be an exhibitor, at the conferences, right? Like, I didn't know that. Nobody told me. The marketing tips at the time were we're like, oh, go out, sponsor this, pay for that, go here, be there, send marketing material, and all of these very costly things. And they're great when you have the budget for them. But the truth is no one really wants to talk to an exhibitor unless they have a already clarified need. Like, I'm looking at a supply that I know I want to purchase because I wanted to come and test it out, right? That sometimes happens at medical conferences. Or they see that you have a specific thing highlighted. Let's say nobody does billing for one type of service, and you have it listed there on your banners and things, right? That is possible, but the likelihood of you being able to really attract new folks to you at a larger scale, and an opportunity where they are already identifying, definitely slim. And also, it's harder because they're coming to you. If they're coming to you, you then have to try to establish rapport, try to get to a space where you're able to talk confidently, comfortably about what you do, who you are. Like, you're talking about, a 10-minute conversation, and nobody really wants to hang out with you that long at these conferences, right? They want to go visit the food station or the coffee station or whatever, right? And so know that, like, you're already limited when you have paid all this money, you're at a loss, and you're trying to bring people there. So if on the other side of it, one example of outbound is that exhibitor, but inbound marketing is the example of that, is saying, I want to put information out there and I want people to find me. So speaking, like, as I said, at the conferences, like, maybe you teach on one specific thing, or maybe you write an article for a billing related article. You're just submitting that to your local chapter for this medical association or the specialty that you want to serve, right? You're starting to create a relationship. They start to see your name and your face, even in the e-magazines or blogs or whatever. They have pictures or opportunities for you to put logo up there. So they're establishing a relationship with you, your eyes, because that's what people look for when they see humans. They're establishing a relationship with your eyes, or they're establishing a relationship with your brand and logo, right? They start to know that, and they start to really build trust in that based on what you're sharing. And when a question comes up, they might say, hey, I'm going to reach out to that person that's in that, I've been seeing them in this publication, right? They're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to call that random exhibitor that I saw at the exhibit hall. Like, they didn't get any value from that exhibitor. There wasn't content that the person was putting out there to answer questions and help people navigate challenging circumstances or situations, right? So when we talk about outbound versus inbound marketing, becoming attracted to you and your business, so much more powerful than outbound. Doesn't mean don't get the business cards and the, whatever things you want to have, brochures and whatever. That's fine. You can do that, but know that, again, you are wanting to allow this relationship to have already been built on some sort of foundation. So they are coming to you by way of some path that lets them know that they trust that you know things, and they possibly can trust you, right? If you're being introduced by another provider, you're being referred by a different client, huge, way more beneficial to you that someone would be referred to you than you going out and trying to find those clients and kind of bring them into the fold. Not saying don't do it. There are like really key strategies on doing that successfully, but the most important thing is you want to make sure when you are creating your marketing strategy that you're thinking of ways to really hone in on inbound marketing. So I talk about a book that there's a number of books that I like on this topic. One of my favorites that helps you like very easily. It's a short read and it helps you really understand the concept of inbound marketing. Is called They Ask You Answer. This book is invaluable. I think it's one of those books that like, he's revisited, I think, twice to make updates. But it's something that is fairly timeless because at the time, I believe he starts the book when he first wrote it was about blogging. Blogging is not a dead art form by any means, but it was way more popular before people started doing a lot more video blogging and other types of content being produced in social media, such as like TikTok content and things like that, right? So, there's been iterations of it or ways to kind of reorient what you'll do for this inbound marketing. But the truth is that the essence of it is still the same. So the language might be different, meaning you might not be, producing a long form blog post, but you're going to take said long form blog post and you make the short form video, right? So it's the same kind of general concept of how to strategize. The strategy on how to create content is really what he talks about. It's like the value and understanding of the why, but then how do I think about the questions that people are asking in the marketplace? Like all the research that I mentioned earlier that you do is just like getting to know the challenges that people are faced with, answering those questions in a very strategic way, trying to answer the questions that you see folks asking that are in your specialty. All right. So inbound versus outbound. Inbound, people coming to you, so much more powerful. The relationship is almost established already, right? And now just as an example here, like, you guys interact with me here when we talk on other spaces or we're in like the medical billers meetup together or in the Facebook group, like you have a relationship with me already, right? We have a relationship. So you feel like if I have a question, I'm going to ask Jasmine, right? Like immediately you feel this level of trust. Not only do I, share in other videos and share different types of information that hopefully you find valuable, but there is this open door that I'm saying, hey, like, please ask me your questions, right? Same thing when you're out there and doing these, responses to questions in the blogs and the forums and things online, is just leaving the door open and letting people know that you are a resource available for support. I say the same thing even in the Medical Billers Network, you guys, because in the Medical Billers Network, we have our stars, right? We've got our rock stars out there that answer questions all the time. And those folks, we know their names. Like you will learn their names if you hang in there long enough. And not only will you learn their names, but you kind of start to know, like, they know what they're talking about, right? You feel a sense of, wow, this person's clearly knowledgeable, right? And so even as a biller, like as someone who is a medical biller, I might even think of someone that I see more frequently in the group that's corresponding when I want to introduce them to a new client, because I see that they've talked about this specialty and they seem like they have experience, with this topic. And so the moment that it comes up, it's this concept of that my coach calls top of mind, right? The moment that something comes up that is in the same general idea of what was discussed in whatever group, in Facebook group or in whatever environment, when it comes up outside of that, I now know, oh, like this person, they're right at the top of my mind because I've seen their name so many times or I've seen them respond so many times. All right. So when you have this opportunity, if you've got time, if you're on social media, doing things on social media, like replace some of that time. Like when I say social media, I mean, like if you're someone who's just like interacting on social media, like, commenting on random videos and consuming random things, replace some of that time with getting into some of these Facebook groups or being out there in the TikTok world of like this industry or this specialty that you want to serve or whatever, and just be the person that's out there commenting and making asking the thought-provoking questions and making the opportunities for conversation to be on the table for them to be thinking about, people who are reading it, but then also to help add value to the conversation. Like somebody answers the question in their video, like don't go out there and be like, that's wrong. Like, you know what, I haven't thought about it that way, but here's what I think about, right? There are ways to say that someone is not maybe presenting the right information in a kind way. And so be out there and add value to the conversation and just let things flow. If it's comfortable for you in social media, then you have a whole world available to you. There are some of us that, you know, didn't grow up with social media, and so not as comfortable, right? Not as comfortable by any means. So, all right. Oh, oops, sorry, I missed a chat. Hey, Alexandra, I'm so sorry. Hi, thanks for being here. Brand new, yay! Glad that you're here. Sorry, I missed that earlier. All right, yeah, and Nicole just put in the chat the Medical Billers Network Facebook group. If you're not a part of that, I would absolutely recommend that you join. You guys are doing a fantastic job at supporting each other. That's exactly what the space is for. I want to urge you to ask your question. Like, not asking the question is where the problem is. Don't be thinking about whether or not the question is good or bad or whatever. Don't define it. Just ask the question, because I guarantee you, if you have the question, someone else has the same question. So you're supporting others, you're encouraging others, you're really helping the community. And that's the whole idea, right? Is that we're uplifting the collective and we're able to together improve the delivery of patient care by getting out of this like awful cycle of those of us who've been in billing for a long time know very well there are a lot of very dissatisfied folks in the business of healthcare that have been stuck, and so many of them operate in this like scarcity way of like, no, it's mine and it's my intellectual property, but it's not. Like, and there's so much to get around. No, there's so much to go around. That's the word. There's so much to go around. We actually, we need each other, right? Not only do we need each other, is like in this industry, there's so many different providers with different needs and different areas that really, we don't have competition. We are not competition, because what I do is uniquely different than what you do, and what they're doing is different than what we're doing, right? We are all unique. And so there's not a way that someone is going to actually be able to see us as absolute competitors, because the way that we service our clients is going to be different. The way that we interact and communicate to our clients is different, right? So get clear about who you are, and you're not going to see other people as competition, because you know that you are unique. That is the secret sauce. The unique selling proposition is you. Like, you and how you do it is exactly the uniqueness, and allowing that to come through and how you communicate to your clients and how you attract people. It's the thing that not only will help you kind of bring more peace of mind into your life, where you're not feeling this sense of constant scarcity. So many of us invest a lot of time and energy in like trying to safeguard and hide things from people, when the truth is like, we are all different. We all have opportunities before us to take actions, and the actions are going to produce results. Those of us who choose not to take action don't even get to play the game. All right. So if you aren't already deciding that you want to do medical billing as a business, or you're kind of on the fence, then you could listen to my videos all day. You could, ingest it and feel strongly about, one thing or the other in the conversation. But if you aren't actually out there trying it, then you're not even putting your name in the hat. You have zero opportunity to win, right? So my encouragement to you is, if you're here and you've been listening to these videos and you're like, I really want to start a billing company, I've wanted to do it for years and years, like, there is truly no time like right now. Truly, like at this moment in time, I encourage you to stop and stop saying that you're going to do it one day. Stop saying that, I want stars to be perfectly aligned, because it will never be the perfect time for it. Yeah, the elections are coming and all these things, right? Doesn't matter. There will always be something that will be in your way until you choose, you decide, right? You kill off all other possibilities by making the decision. That is the factor that will change everything. And so when you make that decision, there's a lot of content here on the channel. There's a lot of resources available to you in both Facebook groups. Nicole has put the Medical Billing Company Leaders Facebook group in the chat, as well as the Medical Billers Network. If you're not in both of those, go ahead and join them both. I don't think there's a reason not to. One is oriented towards folks who are in the billing, doing the billing. The other is oriented towards people who are in some way leading the billing company. So it could be managers, it could be mid-level supervisors, and it could be the actual owners of the billing companies. So know that the conversations will differ in that way, but the challenges might be slightly different. But you could benefit from both environments if you're exploring medical billing company ownership. And then, my friends, if you were not here at the front part of this live, you're going to rewatch it, because rewind, that's what you're going to do. You can do that. But Saturday, medical billing, medical billers. I cannot talk today. We have a kind of a start to finish webinar that we're doing specifically for folks who are interested in starting medical billing company. So soon, in the next, actually, I think our applications are open, but basically when our applications are open for Inner Circle, when we wrap up this year, our Inner Circle opens up some more spots. And what that means is our medical billers, company leaders, folks who are interested in working with me more hands-on, this is our incubator program. So it's essentially, you're already established. We are here to help you create structure that is sustainable for growth, okay? So we're creating a lot of different things together that helps to strengthen the possibilities for your company and getting you out there to make your business scalable, right? That's the idea. That is the goal with Incubator. It is not a place where I help you do go out and, get your business name and try doing these very foundational things. So Saturday, we'll talk about that. Some of the pre-work that we just chatted about, we'll talk about that. But the goal is that if you were someone who's not decided and today you've decided, you come on Saturday and you have a good sense of what you need to do to take action, so that if you are interested in joining Inner Circle, you could, because we won't take folks who do not have a business established. You already have to have your medical billing company established. I don't coach you to get that off the ground, only because there is this massive gap between execution and desire, and that gap is mindset. I put my head in the middle for a purpose, because if you have not made the choice and you've been thinking about it for so long, you have some things in mindset that you need to work out, that it will take too long for us to work together, that sometimes people can go into coaching programs and stay for months and months and still never take the action to start their business. And I don't want to waste your time or mine. I also don't want to waste the group's time. The group is built up of folks who have their own medical billing companies, and the value in there is that they're in various stages of their businesses, but they can work together and learn from each other. So if you haven't even taken the step or the leap to starting your business and getting it just established at the very least, then you won't have anything to add to the group, right? And so, like I said, I care about the value that you're bringing to the group. And so Inner Circle includes only folks who have already started their business. And so I'm focusing on the content, kind of the stuff to kind of get you guys out of the nest, right? Ready to fly. That's my hope. And that those of you who want to apply for Inner Circle can do so. But yeah, you're going to first have to get these things kind of nuts and bolts to put your name in the hat for Inner Circle. All right. So with that said, we have the webinar on Saturday the 14th, this Saturday, the 14th of September at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you're watching this on replay and it's way after September 14th, no worries. You can still visit the link in our on our website or somewhere there in the description box that has our events page on it, because we likely have something similar going on, or different activity events going on that you might be interested in. And also, this particular webinar, yes, it will be available for replay. I've had questions about that. You can rewatch it for up to a week. So let's say you can't be there live, still register. Make sure that you follow the links to register, because the registration is not, this is not going to be live on YouTube. It's going to be through a different webinar platform. And when you log in to the webinar, you'll have the ability to interact, ask questions and things like that. But if you cannot come on, you can rewatch the webinar, and then the webinar drops to members only. And so after a week, I'm sorry. So you'll be able to rewatch it for a week, and then it goes to members only. And that's membership here on YouTube. So if you're not familiar with membership, you can check that out. Oh, Nicole just put the link in there. She's so fast. Yeah. So membership is there's two different tiers. The higher tier, which I think is $5, something like that a month, is the one that has the recordings that will be there in perpetuity for you to watch. And there's also member only live streams that those of you who aren't members haven't seen yet. And so you can always check it out. Membership is like, there's no commitment. It's a YouTube thing. So YouTube lets you, work out your own subscriptions and stuff like that with them. And so if you check it out and you don't really love it, you can do what you like with the membership, start it, stop it, change it. Yeah, cool. All right, my friends, I feel like today was full, and thank you all so much for bearing with our little changes. Oh, I'm looking at it. Yeah, Nicole is giving clarity here around the super billing sprouts option. That's the option with the webinar discounts. And yeah, love it. I love it. Thank you for that clarification. All right, my friends. Well, so Saturday, 11 a.m., I will see you on Saturday. It's going to be a really great time. Yeah, I'm thrilled to lead you through this webinar. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me. My friends who are members, you guys are rock stars. Thank you so much for the support of the channel. Our members are the names that are scrolling on the bottom of the page, one of the perks of memberships. And we're just so grateful that you guys have chosen to hang out in this space and give so generously to the community, not just of your resources, but your time, your greatest resource, being a part of the Facebook groups and the community pages, and just helping each other. You guys are the game changers in the healthcare industry. So I appreciate you so much. And I look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Take care.